The sun rose slowly over the city of Lagos, painting the sky with shades of orange and gold. The streets were already alive with movement, okadas weaving between cars, traders shouting prices at customers, and downfalls honking loudly at every junction. Chinedu wiped the sweat off his forehead as he arranged his tray of gala and soft drinks. He had been selling by the roadside for 3 years now, running between cars during traffic, hoping to make enough money to take care of his mother and younger sister in Ajigono. "Chinedu. My guy," a voice called from behind. It was Connor, his best friend and fellow street hustler. Connor sold bottled water and sometimes cleaned windshields for extra cash. "Connor, how far?" Chinedu greeted with a tired smile. "My brother, we dey. Today go better," Connor said with hope in his voice. Just then, a black SUV slowed down in the traffic. Chinedu quickly ran towards it, balancing his tray with one hand. The driver rolled down the window. "Oga, by gala. Fresh one, I swear," Chinedu said with a bright smile. The man in the car nodded and handed Chinedu a 500 naira note. Chinedu quickly reached into his pockets to find change, but at that moment, a loud bang echoed through the street. People started shouting. Chinedu turned his head and saw 2 men on a motorcycle snatch a woman's handbag and speed off. The woman screamed, falling to the ground as others rushed to help her. "Lagos no easy," Connor muttered beside him. Chinedu sighed. He had seen things like this too many times, yet every day, he and thousands of others still came out to hustle. He turned back to give the driver his change, but something strange happened. The driver was staring at him with a curious expression. "Young man, what's your name?" the man asked. Chinedu hesitated, confused. "My name not Chinedu, sir." The man smiled slightly. "You look like someone who wants something more than this hustle. Are you ready to change your life?" Chinedu's heart skipped a beat. He tightened his grip on his tray, unsure of what to say. The man's question echoed in his head, "Are you ready to change your life?" Connor nudged him. "Omo, answer now," he whispered. Chinedu swallowed. "Sir, I want better, but I no get opportunity." The man chuckled. "Opportunity is everywhere, my boy. You just need to grab it." Just then, the traffic started moving again, and the cars behind began honking impatiently. The man quickly reached into his pocket, pulled out a business card, and handed it to Chinedu. "Come to this address tomorrow morning. Ask for Mr. Jide," he said before rolling up his window and driving off. Chinedu stared at the card. It read, "Jide Benson and Company. Real Estate and Investments ****. Connor peeped over his shoulder. "Guy, this one fit be your breakthrough oh." But doubt crawled into Chinedu's mind. "Wetin if no scam? Abi he wan use me for ritual." Connor laughed. "See you. Person no fit help you again. If you no wan go, give me the card make I go." Chinedu quickly shoved the card into his pocket. "I go think about am." The rest of the day felt longer than usual. Chinedu's mind was filled with questions. Why did the man pick me? What if it's real? What if it's fake? That night, as he lay on the small mattress he shared with his younger sister, Ada, he pulled out the card again, running his fingers over the letters. Ada stood beside him and mumbled sleepily, "Brother, you no go sleep." Chinedu sighed. "I dey think." "About what?" "JK." He hesitated. "Maybe say life fit change." Ada yawned and rolled over. "It go change. Just pray." Chinedu smiled slightly. His sister was only 10, but she had more faith than most adults. The next morning, he woke up early, his heart pounding. He had a decision to make. Would he go and meet this Mr. Jide, or would he stay in the hustle he knew? Chinedu sat on the edge of the mattress, staring at the business card in his hand. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a dull glow over the small room he shared with his mother and Ada. His mother was already awake, tying her wrapper as she prepared to leave for her cleaning job in Ikoyi. "Chinedu, why you never go out?" she asked, adjusting her headscarf. Chinedu hesitated. "Mama, I won't try something today. I fit no sell gala." His mother stopped and gave him a long, tired look. "Hope say no be walla you won't enter." "No, Mama. I meet one man yesterday wey say make I see am for office. He fit help me." She sighed. "My son, just be careful. No let anybody use you do bad thing." "Yes, Mama." After she left, Chinedu quickly washed his face, wore his cleanest shirt, and left for the address on the card. He squeezed himself into a crowded danfo, holding tightly to his pocket where the little money he had was kept. Lagos traffic was unforgiving as usual. The conductor hung from the door, shouting, "Oshodi! Oshodi! Enter with your change oh." Chinedu closed his eyes and tried to calm his nerves. After what felt like forever, he arrived at a tall building on the island. The difference between here and his home in Ajigona was like night and day. The streets were clean, the air smelled different, and people walked around in suits, talking into their phones. He stood outside the glass doors of Jide Benson and Company, feeling small in his worn-out shirt and slippers. For a moment, he thought about turning back, but then he remembered Ede's words, *e go change. Just pray, *. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside. The air conditioning hit him immediately, making him shiver. The receptionist, a young woman with bright red lipstick, looked up. "Good morning. How can I help you?" Chinedu cleared his throat. I dey find Mr. Jide. One man give me this card." He held it up. She looked at it and then picked up the phone. "Please sit down," she said. Chinedu sat, feeling out of place. People in suits walked past him, barely giving him a glance. After a few minutes, the receptionist nodded toward the hallway. "Go straight, last office on the left." Chinedu stood up, his heart thudding. Was this the moment that would change his life? With a deep breath, he walked toward the office, his legs feeling heavy. He knocked once. "Come in," a deep voice called from inside. Chinedu turned the handle and stepped in. Chinedu pushed the door open slowly and stepped inside. The office was big, bigger than his entire house in Ajigona. A large wooden desk sat in the middle, with a shelf full of books behind it. The air smelled of coffee and something expensive, like leather. Behind the desk sat the man from the SUV. He looked different now, wearing a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He leaned back in his chair and studied Chinedu with a curious smile. "You came," the man said. "Yes, sir," Chinedu replied, standing awkwardly near the door. The man gestured for him to sit. Chinedu hesitated, then carefully lowered himself onto the soft chair. "My name is Jide Benson," the man continued. "I own this company. We buy and sell land, build houses, and rent properties. But that's not why I called you here." Chinedu swallowed. "Why, sir?" Mr. Jide leaned forward. "Yesterday, when I saw you in traffic, I saw something different in your eyes. Hunger. Not for food, but for something better." Chinedu shifted in his seat. "I want better, sir. But I no go school well. I no sabi office work." Jide smiled. "School is important, but it's not everything. What you need is willingness to learn. Can you do that?" Chinedu nodded quickly. "Yes, sir." "Good," Jide said, opening a drawer and pulling out a small envelope. "Here's some money. It's not a gift, it's an advance. If you accept, you start working for me. You run errands, observe, and learn how business works. But if you waste this chance, I won't offer it again. Chinedu stared at the envelope, his hands shaking. This was it, the opportunity he had prayed for. But something inside him whispered, is this real? What if I fail? He asked quietly. Jide's face remained calm. Then you pick yourself up and try again. That's how we all succeed. Chinedu took a deep breath. His whole life had been about running between cars, running from hunger, running from the fear of never escaping the hustle. But maybe, just maybe, it was time to stop running and start building. Slowly, he reached for the envelope. Chinedu's fingers trembled as he picked up the envelope. It felt heavier than it looked, like it carried more than just money. It carried hope, responsibility, and the possibility of a new life. Thank you, sir, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Jide nodded. Don't thank me yet. The real work starts now. Be here tomorrow morning by 7 a.m. sharp. No excuses. My driver will take you home today, so you don't waste the money on transport. Chinedu's eyes widened. Driver? Jide smiled. Yes. You are no longer a street hustler, Chinedu. You are now a man learning business. Chinedu nodded quickly, gripping the envelope tightly. One last thing, Jide added, looking at him seriously. Lagos is full of people who will try to take advantage of you. Be wise. Don't tell anyone about this opportunity until you have something to show for it. Chinedu thought of Connor. His best friend would be happy for him, wouldn't he? But he also knew how jealousy worked. He had seen friendships end over things as small as a borrowed t-shirt. I understand, sir, he said. Good. My driver is waiting downstairs. Chinedu stood up, bowed slightly, and left the office. His legs felt light, like he was floating. He passed the receptionist, who gave him a curious glance, but he didn't stop walking. The black SUV was parked outside, the same one Jide had been in the day before. A man in a neat black shirt and dark sunglasses opened the door for him. Oga say make I carry you go house, the driver said, his voice deep and professional. Chinedu hesitated. He had never sat in such a fine car before. But this was his new life, wasn't it? With a deep breath, he climbed in, feeling the soft leather seats against his back. As the car rolled out into the streets of Lagos, Chinedu looked out the window at the world he was leaving behind, at the boys still running between cars, at Connor still shouting, pure water, at passing drivers. Had his life really just changed? Or was this just another Lagos dream that would disappear by morning? As the SUV glided through the busy streets, Chinedu's mind raced. His whole life, he had been the one running between cars, dodging downfalls and Okadas. Now, for the first time, he was inside one of the cars he used to chase after. It didn't feel real. The driver, a man in his late 30s with a thick beard, glanced at him through the rearview mirror. Where your house day? Ajigona, Chinedu answered, almost feeling ashamed to say it inside such a fine car. The driver only nodded and kept driving. They passed Third Mainland Bridge, and Chinedu stared out at the water, deep in thought. Was this how rich people lived? No sweating in the sun. No running after moving vehicles. No loud conductors screaming in their ears. Soon, they entered the dusty, narrow streets of Ajigona. People stared as the black SUV crawled through, their faces filled with curiosity and suspicion. Nobody drove a car like this in this area unless they were a politician or a big man's son. When they reached Chinedu's house, he quickly stepped out. Thank you, sir, he said to the driver. The man nodded. Oga say make you no forget. 7 a.m. sharp tomorrow. I no go forget. As the SUV drove off, a group of boys playing football in the street whistled and ran toward him. Chinedu. No, your car be that, one of them, Wesiu, shouted. Chinedu forced a smile. No, oh, no, my Oga car. Another boy, F, narrowed his eyes. Which Oga? You don't get work. Before Chinedu could answer, he heard a familiar voice behind him. My guy, wetin dey happen? It was Connor. He walked up to Chinedu, looking at him suspiciously. I see you enter one big motor now. You dey do Uber? Chinedu laughed nervously. No be Uber. No, the man wey I sell gala to yesterday. He won't help me. Connor's face changed. Help you how? Chinedu hesitated. Jide's words echoed in his mind. Don't tell anyone about this opportunity until you have something to show for it. Just small work, he said casually. Nothing big. Connor frowned, but he didn't push further. Okay, oh. No, forget your guy when you blow. Chinedu forced a smile, but something inside him felt uneasy. Would Connor truly be happy for him? Or was this the beginning of something else? That night, as he lay on his mattress, he counted the money in the envelope. It was more money than he had ever held at once. But instead of feeling excited, he felt something else. Pressure. Tomorrow was the real test. Would he rise to the challenge? Or would he fail before he even started? Morning came too quickly. Chinedu barely slept. His mind had been racing with thoughts of the new job, the money, and Connor's reaction. By 5:30 a.m., he was already up, scrubbing his only good shirt in a bucket of soapy water. He hung it on a nail outside to dry while he bathed using a plastic bowl. Ada woke up and rubbed her eyes. Brother, why you wake early? I get work today, Chinedu said, trying to keep his voice steady. Ada smiled sleepily. Mama go happy. Chinedu hoped so. By 6:45 a.m., he was dressed and ready. The shirt was still damp, but he wore it anyway. He couldn't afford to be late. He tucked a business card into his pocket, grabbed a sachet of pure water, and stepped outside. Just as he was locking the door, he heard a voice behind him. Chinedu, where you dey go this early? It was Connor. Chinedu's heart skipped a beat. I tell you say I get work. Connor folded his arms. Which can work? You no even tell me wetin you dey do. Chinedu forced a smile. Just small office work. I never sabi am well. Connor studied him for a moment, then nodded slowly. Okay. Make I follow you reach bus stop. Chinedu hesitated. No wahala. As they walked, Chinedu's mind kept spinning. He wanted to trust Connor, but something felt off. Connor had been his guy since day one, but Lagos had taught him that money changed things. At the bus stop, a sleek black car pulled up in front of them. It was Jide's driver. Connor's eyes widened. Chinedu, no your Oga motor be this. Chinedu swallowed hard. He had no more lies to tell. Yes. Connor let out a low whistle. It be like say you done hammer oh. Chinedu opened the car door, but before he stepped in, Connor grabbed his wrist gently. My guy, no forget who dey with you when you never get anything. Chinedu nodded, unsure what to say. Then he slid into the back seat, and the door shut behind him. As the car drove off, he looked back. Connor was still standing there, watching. And Chinedu couldn't shake the feeling that something had just changed between them. As the car weaved through the morning traffic, Chinedu tried to shake off the uneasy feeling in his chest. He should be happy, he was getting a chance most boys in Ajigona could only dream of. But Connor's words stuck in his mind. No forget who dey with you when you never get anything. Was Connor genuinely happy for him, or was something else behind those words? Young man, you dey think too much, the driver said suddenly, glancing at him through the rearview mirror. Chinedu snapped out of his thoughts. No be so, sir. I just dey reason everything. The driver chuckled. Lagos no be place to reason too much. You grab opportunity quick before another person snatch am. Chinedu nodded. He knew the driver was right. Soon, they arrived at Jide Benson and Company. Chinedu stepped out, adjusted his shirt, and took a deep breath. This is it. He walked inside, the cold blast of the air conditioning hitting him immediately. The receptionist, the same woman from yesterday, gave him a small smile. Good morning, she said. You're early. Yes, Ma, Chinedu replied. She nodded approvingly. That's good. Go to the small office by the right. Mr. Jide will see you soon. Chinedu followed her direction and entered a smaller office where two other young men were seated. They both turned to look at him. One was dark-skinned and slim, wearing a crisp white shirt and black trousers. The other was slightly bigger, with a confident look on his face. You be the new guy? The slim one asked. Yes, Chinedu answered. Me SEF just start last week, the slim one said, stretching his hand. I be Daniel. Chinedu shook it. I be Chinedu. The bigger one just nodded without shaking hands. I be Toby. Hope you sabi work, because nobody go teach you here. If you slack, them go drop you sharp. Chinedu swallowed. He knew he had to prove himself. Just then, the door opened, and Mr. Jide walked in. Good morning, gentlemen, he said. Welcome to the real world. Chinedu straightened his back. This was it. No more running between cars. No more selling gala. His new life had officially begun. Chinedu sat up straight as Mr. Jide walked to the front of the small office, his hands tucked neatly into his pockets. He looked calm but serious, the way a man who controlled money and people should look. Here, we work fast, think smart, and always stay ahead, Jide began. If you want to survive in business, you must learn quickly and prove yourself useful. Chinedu listened carefully. He had never worked in an office before, but he knew hustle when he saw one, and this was just another kind of hustle, only cleaner, with air conditioning. You three are new, so you'll start with the basics, Jide continued. You'll follow my senior staff around, observe how deals are made, and assist with small tasks. If you learn fast, you grow. If you waste time, he shrugged. You go back to the streets. Chinedu nodded quickly. He couldn't afford to go back. Now, Jide said, looking at them one by one. Tell me, why do you want to work here? Daniel went first. Sir, I want to make money. I want to be successful and take care of my family. Jide nodded. Fair answer. What about you, Toby? Toby leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. I don't just want to work, I want to own my own business one day. I want to be like you, sir. Jide smiled slightly. Ambition. That's good. Then he turned to Chinedu. And you? Chinedu hesitated, then spoke honestly. I don't want to run between cars for the rest of my life, sir. I want better. Jide studied him for a moment. Then, he nodded. That's what I wanted to hear. Chinedu felt a small relief in his chest. All right, Jide said. Your first task, follow my assistant, Miss Grace, and learn how we handle clients. You'll start by organizing files and running small errands. No job is too small. If you fail at little things, you'll never handle big things. Understood? Yes, sir, they all answered. Just then, the door opened, and a tall, well-dressed woman in a black dress and heels stepped in. She had a sharp, no-nonsense look. This is Miss Grace, Jide said. She will guide you for now. Miss Grace glanced at them and sighed. Follow me. And don't waste my time. As they stood up to follow her, Chinedu clenched his fist. Asterisk, this is my chance. I won't mess it up, asterisk. But as he walked out of the office, he had no idea that the real challenges were only just beginning. The next few weeks were the toughest of Chinedu's life. Miss Grace was strict, almost unforgiving. She gave them endless tasks, sorting files, making photocopies, arranging client documents, and running errands. There was no room for mistakes. Toby complained often, rolling his eyes whenever she gave orders. This one no be work, no houseboy training, he would grumble under his breath. Daniel stayed quiet but worked smart, finding shortcuts to complete tasks faster. Chinedu, however, knew he had no choice but to endure. He was determined to prove himself. One day, an opportunity came. Mr. Jide had an urgent meeting with a client, but Miss Grace was unavailable. He needed someone to deliver an important document across town. Who can handle this? He asked, looking at the three of them. Toby quickly shook his head. Lagos traffic. I no fit. Daniel hesitated. I get another assignment, sir. Chinedu, without thinking twice, stepped forward. Sir, I fit do Jide looked at him. Are you sure? Yes, sir, Chinedu said confidently. Jide handed him the envelope. Don't fail me. Chinedu took a deep breath and rushed out. He had never been trusted with something this big. Lagos traffic was madness, but he used his street skills, jumping on an Okada, squeezing through tight spaces, and moving fast. He arrived just in time and handed the documents to the client, who nodded in approval. When Chinedu returned, Jide smiled. Good job. You just proved something today, you can be trusted with responsibility. From that moment, things changed. Jide began involving him in bigger tasks, allowing him to observe property deals and learn how money moved in real estate. Months passed, and Chinedu grew. He saved his earnings, learned how to negotiate, and gained the confidence to speak to clients. One evening, Jide called him into his office. You remind me of myself, Jide said. I started from the bottom, just like you. That's why I gave you a chance. Now, I want you to grow. How would you like to become a junior sales agent? Chinedu's heart pounded. Sir, me. Jide nodded. You've earned it. Chinedu could hardly believe it. From selling gala in traffic to sitting in an office as a real estate agent, it was like a dream. As he left the office that day, he saw Connor waiting outside. Chinedu, so now here you dey work now, Connor said, looking around. Chinedu nodded. Yes, Connor. Hustle no easy, but I dey try. Connor sighed. Omo, Lagos hard oh. I still dey street. Boys dey struggle. Chinedu looked at his old friend. He saw the same hunger he once had. Connor, if you serious, I fit talk to my ogre. You fit start small, like I did. Connor's eyes widened. You go help me. Chinedu smiled. Person help me, why I no go help another person? Connor swallowed hard, then nodded. I go do That was how Chinedu, the boy who once ran between cars selling snacks, started changing the lives of others. Moral lessons. 1. Hard work and determination open doors. Chinedu's willingness to work hard and learn helped him move from the streets to the office. 2. Opportunities come to those who are prepared. When the chance came to prove himself, Chinedu was ready. 3. Loyalty and wisdom matter. He didn't forget his roots, but he also learned to be careful with friendships. 4. Success is meant to be shared. Instead of forgetting where he came from, Chinedu chose to lift others up. No matter where you start, with the right mindset and effort, you can build a better future. The end.